What's up, Steeler Nation? We are the Observers, Smo and Chris here to mock it up for you this evening, right
We're
before the
back.
draft.
Yeah.
This,
Have we washed the stink off of last season?
no, absolutely not.
I think we left it at the playoffs, right? We did a preview and then we're too bummed to really come back.
We may have done one after the season ended. I can't even remember, but I've just been so out of it and kind of like we were talking in the chat, it's maybe the least excited I've been about a season that I can remember.
It's tough because you, you know they're just not good enough probably to win it. But when the season starts, you're going to be riding with every game.
Yeah, no,
I was like,
absolutely.
I can wait for that. We're not in position. Our chances of winning are under 1% easily. Um, but still, it's going to be so much fun.
Yeah,
But the
no,
off-season
I'll
excitement is just not there.
No, not at all. And speaking of off-season, free agency and all that, we didn't do a recap of what happened when free agency opened. There were some big signings or even trades that went down. We'll wait until the three of us get together, or at least we have the schedule. We get through the draft, and then there's the schedule release. We'll come back and recap all that stuff. But tonight, we really want to focus on the draft, what we think our needs are. And so I think you're going to share your screen. We're going to mock it up real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, if you want to start pulling that up, kind of start going into, what we think it is that we need. I mean, me personally, I'm thinking defensive tackle. Cam Hayward isn't getting any younger. I mean, he's playing excellent, right? But he's just an injury away, and then we have very, very limited depth. I think we brought back, what's his name? Isaiah Loudermilk, right?
Yeah,
So we
great.
re-signed him. We've got Keanu Benton, who was like, he flashed his rookie year and his second year. I was expecting him to make a bigger jump or be a lot louder than what he was. So hopefully in year three, we'll see that. But we just need to pair him with somebody else because I believe Larry Ogunjobi's gone too, right?
Yeah, Larry O's gone. I think it's pretty obvious that D line needs some love. We obviously need a quarterback, whether or not you want to do that early or late. Even if you're just drafting late for someone to be a backup. I mean, right now there's one quarterback on the roster, and then Skylar Thompson has a futures deal. So he's not really on the roster quite yet. So they need a quarterback, they need a defensive tackle, and then I'd probably say a lot of like best available at certain spots. Probably for sure a running back in there. But
Yeah.
they have options to take, best available in most of these spots. Um, One thing I did pull up is the 30 visits. So the people that really dive into these, like your Steelers depots and the local reporters, they really keep an eye on who comes in to the facility.
Mhm.
They usually do end up drafting a lot of these guys. So on the right, I've got the 2024 people who came to the facility of this. Fautanu's there, they drafted him. McCormick's there, they drafted him. Frazier's there, they drafted him. Logan Lee's there, they drafted him. Peyton Wilson's there, they drafted him. And then Beanie Bishop visited and they picked him up as an undrafted free agent. So in the middle are the 30 visits plus the four locals who don't count towards the 30 who came in the facility this year. Recent trends say four or five, if not all, the picks are going to be from this group. There's obviously some that they went to pro days and maybe they didn't need to come into visits. Like the one standout would be like Kenneth Grant, the D lineman out of Michigan, who's been mocked to us a lot. Didn't come in for a visit, but like all these other D tackles and D linemen did. Um, so just keep that in mind. Like as you go through mocks, there's a pretty good chance that four or five of these guys are going to be Steelers, much like last year.
Let me ask you this. If we did go quarterback, and we've been talking about it in the chat, but the Observer fan base has to
Yeah.
know. If Shador falls to us, what do you do?
Man. Like I can be, I'm so on the fence with the arguments. Um, I think I do lean towards like if you don't have a quarterback, you kind of do have to just like keep taking swings at him.
Hmm.
Um, the rest of the roster is not bad enough to tank. I think even with Mason, they win 8 to 10 games. Like it's too good of a team. We're not talking about like the Panthers or something here. Like they're a middle of the road team with competent. I mean, they went to the playoffs with Mitch, Kenny, and Mason starting. Like that, this is it's not a bad team. This isn't a bottom of the league team unless like somebody gets hurt or the wheels fall off.
Hmm.
Um, so like that being said, like you do have to take chances and take swings if you believe in people. I'm all for that. And I also like what I said in our chat when we were talking about next year's class, because everybody keeps talking about next year's class. Your Archie Mannings, your the kid who left Tennessee, that there's the kid in Clemson, the kid in South Carolina. There's all these kids that next year is going to be some big class. And like this time last year, they were all talking about Quinn Ewers and these guys for this year's draft. And now like Quinn Ewers is like mocked at the fifth round. And like you just don't know. Like you don't know what's gonna happen the next year. So to
Hmm.
like just tank for one or two specific people and they get hurt. But today's kind of like I wasn't joking. Like next year, who's to say Archie Manning, maybe he's the top quarterback and stays in college. Like dude can make
Yeah,
a lot more money in college and not have the pressure of working at, in the NFL for like he's got family money. He's got like a Vuori deal and a Red Bull deal and like he's making money in Texas. Like I'm pretty sure he's not hurting to like go to the NFL. So it's just like a different world. Like it's so hard to be like, yeah, we'll just wait till next year. Where like at a certain point, trust your scouts. You know, if they like Shador, like I'm not a scout, so like could he be good? Sure. I mean, I don't know. Everyone thought like Trevor Lawrence was a sure thing, and he hasn't done anything yet. Like,
right.
Jordan Love was a late first round pick. Aaron Rodgers, we haven't talked about him yet, was a late first round pick. Jalen Hurts was a second round, I think. Lamar was a late first round. Brady was a sixth round. You don't know who's going to be good. So like, if
Exactly. And
just don't know.
a lot of people talk about Shador's attitude in these interviews and stuff like that. But something I heard, one of the reasons that Aaron Rodgers fell in the draft is because he came off as cocky, right? And Shador, he's got that from his dad, and so he turns people off. Confidence makes people uncomfortable, but he throws a pretty ball. He was pretty accurate, 70%
He's
completion
super
percentage.
accurate.
And I heard people say, oh, he throws a lot of bubble screens, but a lot of those highlights, he was launching the ball down the field. And
Yeah.
there was a lot of anticipation along with those throws. He had a crappy O line. So I said this in the chat today that if Broderick Jones were a construction worker, he would be an OSHA nightmare because he's just making mistake after mistake, dude. But Shador is used to that and he's able to get out of pressure and still make a throw. And if we do happen to still have GP and DK Metcalf on the same team with Muth, with Calvin Austin, and then Roman Wilson, those are some weapons to play with. And I feel like that could work out. That could set up either Mason, and then if it's Shador that has to come in relief, I mean, they could be set up for success. I think we could surprise some people, but it all comes down to what happens during this draft. And two of those big questions are one, George Pickens, is he a Steeler this year? Or do we trade him and try to get something for him? And then two, TJ and that story post of him chucking up the deuces. What the hell was that?
He just wants money, dude. He's
Oh
not going
man,
anywhere.
bro.
Yeah, he's not going anywhere. I mean, to double back on like on the Shador thing, like I will say there's super accurate. All the reports are that he can process pretty quickly. He's obviously
Yeah.
a football junkie growing up in the family that he has. People
Hmm.
talk about like Colorado not being on the big stage. Like that team was 1-11 when Dion rolled through there. Like I realized they kicked the team out and had a bunch of transfers come in, but like I don't know. He won 9 games in that second year. with a team that like wasn't really that good. Like it was him and Travis Hunter and like some other bit pieces. Um, and then just the sheer pressure of being Deion Sanders' kid and like
Yeah.
being the quarterback of teams and like having to play out of like whatever talk would surround you of just like, are you only the quarterback of this team because your dad's the coach and you're Dion's kid? And like, I don't know, like that to me, like as a human being would be like a lot of pressure that he's kind of lived up to.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I did like, yeah, you call it confidence in our chats. Like, and I think the quarterback position has desperately needed that for a bit. Um, so I don't know. Either way, whatever, if they go with a quarterback in the first round, um, it's not so much comparing to like Kenny when they did that, but just the handling of the situation. Um, Kenny like not getting any first team, like to draft the quarterback in the first round, giving that person zero first team reps, then throwing them at halftime in the fourth game without any like practice reps that week. Like they just like destroyed like any chance of like him getting off to a good start. So like
Hmm.
if someone falls and you're that interested in them, like let him compete with Mason, let him get like some true opportunity, play him a good bit in the preseason, like do a better job at grooming whoever the next quarterback is than you did the last time around.
No, definitely agreed. And hopefully we learned from that because Kenny came in and we talked about, I mean, I don't know about him not having any confidence because he threw a couple game winners against the Ravens. And I mean, he was throwing some darts. I feel bad, but he is a Super Bowl champion now.
True.
And then there was this talk about Jalen Milroe. And he's been tied to us for a while, and for the longest time, I was like, heck no. But then they talk about how he's like the best running quarterback since Lamar Jackson coming out of college, and some would even say that he's better. And I'm like, wow, are the Pittsburgh Steelers really inclined to Lank? Which, if you know what Jalen Milroe's clothing brand stands for, then I'm having a lot of fun with that one. So if we do end up with him somehow, I'll have a field day with that clothing brand.
Yeah, I mean, I can't. I'd be interested in the like mid rounds of his talent. I can't see us like if we didn't draft Lamar or do it for Fields. Like I don't see us changing our offense and like
That's a good
accepting of
point.
just like I just can't see us doing it. Like we've had
That's a
our
good
chance to
point.
do it.
Yeah, Fields leaving hurt my heart,
Yeah.
but
Like
damn.
if you're interested in drafting Milrow, you should have just signed Fields.
Yeah. All right.
Uh,
Well,
all right, so I'm gonna set this up. I'm gonna do. I guess we'll do all 7 rounds. This gets a little tough at the end. We'll speed it up. The one thing I was playing around with this beforehand, the PFF board kind of goes by like player rankings. So like the first time I
mhm.
did it, it had Cam Ward still available to us because they had him ranked lower. I'm like, that's not gonna happen. So I'm just gonna wait it towards the public because they're typically good at like following the other drafts.
Okay.
Um, I think most people do draft for need. Like I'm slightly more that way. And I'm gonna put it in the middle, for positional value. Um, I think that probably at the end of the day falls in there. And then we'll account for a little bit of randomness.
Okay. And with the grading itself, remember PFF has a strict bias against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They hate us,
Well, they
honestly.
just like it's got us needing QB, running back, tackle, safety. So it doesn't even have D line as like a need. Like you can
They're
game this
idiots.
system by drafting these four and getting an A. So take that for what it's worth.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm gonna kick it off.
Let's see it.
So we had Cam Ward got the see this on this had the Browns taking Shadur number 2.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, right. So I mean, up at 21, you're looking at a lot of these D line options that have been talked about. Walter Nolan, Kenneth Grant. Looks like the kid from Oregon was already taken, maybe, unless I'm not seeing him here. Um, you got Emeka Ibuka there, Luther Bird, and these two receivers, the safety Malachi Starks. I mean, if it falls this way, and we're not accounting for any trades, I do think there's scenarios where if a quarterback that they would take in the first round isn't there and there's multiple options, they could trade back
Hmm.
a few picks, even down to like the top of the second round if they wanted. But we won't do that. Now, like if
Real
I,
quick, I want to say something about the wide receivers. So I hear great things about Egbuka out of Ohio State, but I sent y'all that reel of Luther Burden. He looked a little AB-ish on the runs after the catch and some of the catches that he was making.
yeah,
He was looking nice. So that would be great. But I mean, if we don't trade GP, I mean, I couldn't see us.
yeah, I can't see room for an early receiver if you're not trading him.
Yeah.
With all the other needs they do have, there's not gonna be enough balls to go around unless you do have Rodgers coming in and you're ditching the running game. So I mean, if
Okay.
it falls this way, it's interesting because the Walter Nolan and Kenneth Grant didn't come into the facility. Um, yeah, Amari and Hampton did. Would they dare do a running back in the first round?
Please, no. We did
I
that
mean,
before.
it's a possibility if they like him enough. I don't think they would do corner first round, but Trey Amos is still there. See, this is where they brought in a lot of guys who were like second rounders, but they don't have a second round pick. Um,
Hmm.
so if it did this, I
One,
would do a defensive lineman, and I think Kenneth Grant's who they've been linked to the most. So that's probably where I
okay.
would lean. And now because of the Pickens pick, the DK Metcalf, we don't pick until 83, so it's gonna be a long time. I mean, at this point, you're already looking at running back, D line, receiver, matching up who came to the facility. I'm not seeing Elijah Roberts, D lineman, though he's an edge. I'm not sure they're taking an edge with their third round pick.
the Mountaineer, well, he was the local Wyatt.
Yeah, they're not going to take a tackle here.
Not that early, no.
Yeah, see, like you're in no man's land already.
I mean, we could be looking what, corner at this point?
You could, according to these rankings,
Because you can filter the position. Why don't we take a look at that?
it's just you're taking a lot of these guys early before they're projected to go. Is the
Yeah.
only thing.
All
So if you
right.
truly want to take, I mean, there's some people that are calling for them to double up on D linemen.
I wouldn't hate it.
I mean, I would like it. I don't think they do that, but otherwise, if you're trying to look at like who came to the facility and make some sort of educated guess, there's just no one there other than this edge guy.
Hmm.
So we could do another D lineman or this Restrepo receiver out of Miami.
Can you pull up the wide receivers that are available still?
5'10", 198.
That's a
Yeah, what is this edge rusher? 6'4", 295. So he has a bigger edge. Anywhere from a defensive end to a wide seven outside. See now, I mean they could play well as a 3-4 defensive end who can move along gaps. So like think like you're Stephon Tuitt. I mean that would be
hmm.
interesting. If you to beef up the line,
Yeah.
I mean you'd have Grant, Roberts, Benton, Cam. He came to the facility. I'm inclined to do this.
Let's do it. I don't mind doubling up on D line because look at how Philly won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and that's
They were dominant in the trenches. So
all right. Now you're looking at is there any interest in a Will Howard in the fourth round? I'm biased. I have Notre Dame bias. I think Riley Leonard could be a decent backup for a long time, but I don't think you need to take him here.
nah.
Um, I mean, Will Howard, 6'4", 235. He
Getting
interestingly
that
was not.
itch.
He was not one of the QBs that came in.
Hmm.
Trevor Etienne. I mean, they do need a running back. A lot of people have had Ollie Gordon linked to us.
And we're in the fourth round now. Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bit early for him based on these numbers.
I mean, Will
It's
Howard in the
tough,
fourth
man.
round.
This is so tough.
It almost seems like Isaiah Bond, was he?
Like, are all these gone that came in? Noel, Savion Williams, Jaden Higgins.
Oh gosh, I saw that
Yeah,
Pitt Panther. Yeah.
those are all gone.
All right.
So, see, I'm already stumped.
Honestly, I mean, Will Howard in the fourth round. I mean, based off of this, because I take it Milroe's gone.
Yeah. Look at Will Howard's there. You got McCord who did come in. You could try to get him with the next, but you have a pick at 156. He should still be around.
This is really gambling on the fact that like Aaron Rodgers is coming or we're trading for Kirk Cousins. Good grief.
Okay, yeah, please
I'm
no.
terrified of that. 6'3", 220. Will Howard's bigger kid. I don't know anything about Colin Cord. This is your mock. Have at it.
Yeah, I mean, I think they take a quarterback at some
Just
point.
not Quinn at yours. Just good grief. Do
Yeah.
not. He got so shaky with the football.
I just don't like that
Colin could
Howard
kill.
didn't come into the facility. Like, maybe I'm getting too hung up on the coming into the facility. I'll go Howard.
He
But I
didn't
think
miss this.
they take a quarterback in one of these two rounds. Um, so I think that's fine. I mean, you're at 156. They desperately need a running back here at some point, like Trevor Etienne, Ollie Gordon. Looks like he could be had
Go ahead.
later.
Uh,
It's like all these other guys they brought in are all gone.
how big is Trevor Etienne?
Oh no, well this Tootinstead, they brought this guy in. 5'11", 209, speedy slasher. I'll go with this dude.
Over the Oklahoma State kid?
Yeah. So he looks to be like more of a bruiser.
Najee.
Yeah.
He's from Texas. Where's this Virginia Tech kid from? From New Jersey?
New Jersey.
Eh. Texas football, man. I went to the state championship games. Oh my goodness. I could not believe those were high school football players.
I believe it. I wish it had a extra gear in the like they need game breakers.
Look at cons. Ball security is a concern. 9 fumbles over the last 2 seasons. No thanks. No thanks. Najee hardly ever fumbled. What does it say about our boy Ollie? Willing pass blocker, but lacks sound technique, chop blocks, lunges, head dips. More of a build-up speed runner than oh gosh, that's Najee all over again.
This is Najee, yeah.
Inconsistent vision. Good grief, it's the same thing. Oh boy.
It's tough. It's tough. Let me go Tootin.
Okay. Just better learn how to hold on to damn football.
All right, pick 185. We
Oh,
got two
Dylan
picks
Gabriel is still
left.
there.
Yeah.
Damn.
Um, two picks left. I mean, this is anyone's guess in terms of like what you're looking at.
Is that Notre Dame tight end there that we were talking about?
No, it looks like he's gone.
Nah. Yeah.
Um, you got maybe they didn't bring in any offensive linemen other
I
than
was
that dude
thinking
from West
like
Virginia.
thinking of another guard, Sam Malu, somebody for some depth for McCormick or Sam Malu. Or yeah,
Let's look what this appears to be slim pickings, but I don't know much about a lot of these people. Got two D linemen already. Got a quarterback. Got a running back. If there's a good corner of the bunch or a safety,
there was a Bama safety. Yeah,
6 foot 201, experience in the slot and at free safety.
he's got to be shifty to a degree if he's a flat, but plays safety. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm gonna go him. Unless this kid's 5'10", 195.
Doesn't have the long speed to hold up. Yeah, no
I'm
thanks.
gonna go the safety. Last pick,
Whoa, Jimmy Horn Jr.'s there? Huh.
5'10", 170.
Another whatchamacallit, Calvin Austin.
Yeah, we've got that covered.
He's fast.
I mean, Ollie Gordon's still there. He could do two running backs.
Hmm. That's not a
Might,
terrible idea.
might be okay with that right now. I'm
Student
doing it.
does. I mean, just going to be the observer nation that's going to hold it to.
Oh, an
Hey,
F
you
on
got a
that
B
Tootin
minus,
pick.
but a B on Ollie Gordon. Okay. The Edge they weren't a fan of. Will Howard they liked a lot.
So it's just no
Yeah,
name Tootin. He was 211 on the big board, and we took him at 156. Um, yeah, I don't know. But I think the key here is that this draft could go a million different ways.
so really like Friday doesn't matter to us at all because we don't have. Well, how many rounds do they do on
I think they
Friday?
do 2 and 3.
So we will just have our third round pick, right? Yeah.
Yeah, unless we trade back in, we will have a lot of comp picks next year.
Hmm.
So we could trade one of our normal picks and try to get back into the second round. They could trade Pickens and try and get into the second round. They could trade out of the first round and go down to the second and pick up an extra pick or two somewhere. I think all that's on the table.
Well, I guess there's only one way to find out. What
The
time does
more
it
I
start tomorrow?
the more I look at this is usually like 7, 8 o'clock, something like that.
All
The more I
right.
look at what we just did, though, the more I like it. They need help up front, big time.
Yeah.
It's Benton
So
and Cam. Leal's got his last chance to do anything, but I'm not holding my breath. Loudermilk's just a guy. All those other guys are just guys. They need
who was the
difference
guy we got
makers.
from the Packers when we were at the Commanders game and he just kept warming up in front of us?
Oh man, no, that was the Dean Lowry.
Yeah.
Didn't he
Actually,
signed with someone else?
there was actually, you know what? Didn't we draft another D lineman last year?
Yeah, Logan Lee.
Yeah. I
He
wonder
got
what's going to
hurt.
go. Yeah. That's actually something to keep an eye on too. So we may not need to draft too if he's viable in any kind of way. So Well, I guess we'll get through this. Then schedule release is the following week.
I think it's like 2 or 3 weeks. It's usually mid-May.
Okay. Okay, so we'll be back around that schedule release, try and figure out or start imagining the next observer's trip. I'm sure
Hmm.
Grant will veto every option that we try to choose. I don't want to go that
As
far.
he often does.
Yes. Oh yeah, I didn't get to say this, but you would think that I told him that Santa wasn't real whenever I said we weren't going to get Arch Manning. He was so upset. Like, dude, we're not going to lose enough games to get him.
Yeah. I mean, they will have the option to trade up next year. I mean, I don't know. Like I said, it's so hard to just bank on the next year, and then
Yeah.
you're just in that rut forever. I think it's not in their nature to tank. The roster's too good to lose games. Like we went 8-8 with Duck Hodges one year. Like we just win games. That's just what we do. So until we don't do that, I'm not going to believe it's going to happen. Um, so yeah, take a swing. If someone's there at 21, I'll roll with it and trust the process. But otherwise, beef up the D line.
And Omar, we trust. I hope. Please,
Yeah,
gosh.
right.
I'm tired of this. I'm tired of the quarterback room turning over every year. Come on, man. All right, y'all. Well, good job on the mock. We will talk to y'all soon. Observers out.